Good night, everyone. Here, Elohim again. I bring you this amazing guest from, I think that is pronounced United Kingdom.
Yeah.
Emma Kathryn is next to me. This beautiful person is the author of more than one book. She has been around for some time, so she has learned a lot and she's teaching a lot now. This year, she's presenting her new book with Llewellyn House, that is Witch Life. You can see it in the catalog of Llewellyn. Is this the purple one? Remember, when you go to the store, the purple one with the golden moon, that's the book that you are looking for, not any
That's
other.
the one.
The purple one. How are you doing?
I am very well, thank you. Thank you for having me on. I'm so excited to talk to you. How are
I'm so
you?
happy that you say yes. I'm super happy. I'm really glad because we are in different countries, but thanks to the technology, we have now this. This is like the new Ouija. We can connect with other people in the other side.
I know, I know. This is like the good thing. Yeah, we hear so much about the bad stuff, but this is the beautiful side of it all.
Exactly. Emma, tell me, where do you live and what is your favorite thing about your city?
Okay, so I actually live in a small town and it is just outside of Nottingham. So that's the city. So, you know, Robin Hood and that Nottingham. So I live just outside of there
No,
in a
but
small town.
I need to interrupt. I need to interrupt. When I was children, the first book that I read was Robin Hood. I promise. I'm giving you my word. The first book that I take from the library was the book of Robin Hood. Was like this book. Was this book, and I say I'm going to read it because was has a lot of illustration. Was the first one. With that book, I start my craziness passion for books. With
Yeah.
that, you can
Oh,
continue.
yeah. So yeah, so that's where I live. And the thing I like most about the town is that it's actually one of those towns that I call it rural, and it is rural, but it's also not rural in the way that most places aren't anymore. So, you know, in the town centre, you've got like Starbucks and all of that stuff. But then where I live, I can walk for 5-10 minutes in any direction and I'll be at the woods or at the river or, you know, so that's the thing I love the most about where I live.
That's great. Did you grow in there or do you move to there?
Yes, yes, yes. I've kind of stayed in the same place because that's where like my family are. So yeah, and I actually do enjoy where I live. So you
That's
know, some people get itchy feet and they move away and explore, and that's great. But I'm also a bit of a coward.
no, that depends of each one. Some people feel really comfortable. If you feel safe, that's the thing. If you feel safe, that's maybe the place. And and obviously you are not in a comfort zone because you have been very productive in that place. You have been writing books. You have been very active in the community. I noted that you have other two books. You want to talk about it before this
Well,
one.
yes, yes. So I write articles and essays for Gods and Radicals, which is a pagan anti-capitalist site, and they also publish books. So my first book was called Reclaiming Ourselves, and it very much focused on kind of finding ways where we can reclaim little bits of power for ourselves. So it talks about reclaiming food and our relationship with food, reclaiming our bodies and our relationship with our bodies and the bodies that we have, and you know, being comfortable. And it covers like witchcraft and all of those different aspects where sometimes we can kind of feel powerless, you know. So that was that one. And it also touched on food security. And that is really where my passion lies because I don't know, I'm very working class and the area where I live and grew up in was very poor. So that's kind of always affected my outlook on a lot of things. And, you know, nowadays in the UK, there's a lot of people relying on food banks who are, you know, going hungry and all that stuff. So that really spurred me on to write the second book, which was Reclaiming Food. And it's very much basic recipes because I'm a big believer if you can cook from scratch, then you can you know, it's cheaper in the long run, and you can gain those skills. So that covers like basic recipes like bread, soup, stocks, and some cheap, nutritious, filling food. So that's those two kind of in a nutshell.
Well, that's great. It's entirely different to anything else that I have read. I need to look for those immediately. Sounds great, especially reclaiming foods. Sounds great. I'm terrible in the kitchen. Terrible. I burn the water. Kathryn. My husband do all the food. I do the cleaning. That's the balance in this relation. And has been the balance for 13 years. Sometimes I'm trying to. Sometimes I try to do something in the kitchen and I just put in fire all the apartment.
Balance is good. We all need balance.
Yeah. Now you have this new book. Remember, people, the purple one is not any other color. It's purple with a golden moon. Remember that when you see it in the store. This is a brainwashing therapy.
I like it. I like it.
So do you have now this new book that is Witch Life?
I do. I have a copy. I came prepared.
Yes. Tell me how was the process of this book for you, because it's entirely different to the other ones. This is entirely like a new brand for you.
Yes,
How was it?
absolutely. You know, I think we often kind of separate ourselves, all of those different parts of ourselves, don't we? And we kind of think of them as being separate things and not connected. So, you know, you look at my books and the first two are so very similar to one another, but so very different to this one. And I think what I wanted to show was that all of those beliefs and all of those things and ethics that I care about are still in this book, but it's not the main message. It's kind of showing how we can incorporate all of those things into our lives and still enjoy our lives. And also, you know, witchcraft is such a big part of my life. I'm very openly practiced. People come to my home and it's very obvious that I do something. My family don't. So I have a partner who I've been with for like 20 years or so. And I have like two grown-up sons who are 20 and, well, almost 21 and 19. So, you know, they just accept it. So I'm very open. And so it's a massive part of my life. And I wanted to share that with everybody else, I guess.
That's great. Is any story related with this book that you want to share? Any spell that you really like? So any ritual that you want to recommend? Anything? Because I'm really interested in the book, not just because the book, but because I like your perspective, because you made you noted how terrible is my English, because
Oh, sorry. You've just gone quiet. I can't hear you.
all your ownness in some
I'm
way.
so sorry. The sound cut out, and I only caught the last
Got
few
it, got it,
words.
got it, got it. Don't worry. I got you. Is anything that you want to share about this book? Any experience, any spell, any ritual, any meditation, any history? I'm very interested in the book because different to other books in the market, because we have so many books written for witches, but you have a book that you wrote, but before of this, you have this book about reclaiming yourself, reclaiming your body, reclaiming the food. So obviously you have a very interesting and very different perspective here. So your perspective is pretty new in this market. It's pretty new for everyone. So is anything that you want to share about the book?
Well, you know, there is quite a large section about the Sabbats in there in the Wheel of the Year, and you know, there's loads of stuff out there, and you know, there's lots of good books on the market about that. But I wanted to really focus on them a little bit because I think we've fallen into the trap of kind of thinking of the Sabbats as being one particular day. Um, and as an animist, I kind of tend to see them as being instead markers of the season. So there's lots of different things you can do for each Sabbath. So each Sabbath has a meditation, a ritual, a spell, a recipe. And the idea is that you can pick and choose how you want to celebrate as the season goes, and you can draw on the different energies that ebb and flow as the wheel kind of turns, as spring moves into summer, and the seasonal changes that occur. You can tap into those and adapt any of the spells and workings as you need. So that's really what I was thinking, because I wrote this in the lockdown. So I work with autistic kids in a special school. It's only a very small school because we're a charity school, and a lot of our children have extra needs. So they might have extra medical needs. And so when COVID first hit, we kind of closed the school, and lots of our staff went to people's homes because we didn't want to risk anybody's health, because many people were already vulnerable. So I was working from home, planning lessons and delivering lessons via Zoom. And it's weird working from home when you're not used to it. You just fall in, you think you're going to have all of this time and it's going to be amazing, but I don't know, it was so weird. You fall into weird slumps and ruts. And I noticed it in myself. So I kind of had to dig deep, and I went back to stuff that I'd done years ago, and you kind of move on from there and never look back because you think you've moved on from it. And it was quite refreshing. And so that's what really gave me the inspiration.
Got it. Thank you for this. Everything that you're doing is so magical. I mean, you are really helping people with special conditions. That's really beautiful. I really appreciate that you shared that with us. Sorry for the noise.
That's all right.
Forces around. And this takes me to the next question. That you approach in some way here, but I want to demystify all of these characters. How was these last 2 years for you, 2020, 2021? Because this has been very challenging for everyone.
Yeah, it's been weird, weird bad and weird good in equal measure, I think, because things are bad, and then you have something that happens that is good, and so you start enjoying it, and then you feel bad for enjoying it because things are bad, and generally things are bad, and so, and I feel that's for anything. So it was kind of up and down. My mum lives in Ireland, so there was no travel. We have lots of older relatives who have various health issues, so that meant not seeing people. So that was really tough. But then at the same time, I went through that moment of, finding myself. And it sounds really corny, and I kind of hate myself for saying it. But you kind of rediscover those things that you forgot you enjoyed, and so there were those moments, and yeah, it was tough. It was tough for everybody, I think.
Yes, this was this statement. Now we can raise the mood with these two silly
Yeah.
questions that I always do. The first one is: did you remember which was your first book on witchcraft or magic?
Yes. And I've forgotten the author. I recently spoke about this, and I googled it and found the author again, and I'll have to do that and share it. But when I was a teenager and I was really interested in this, when I was like 12, 13, and I was telling my mum about it, my mum went to the library and got me a book out, and it was called Where to Park Your Broomstick. And it was aimed at like people my age, teenagers who were just kind of beginning to think about these things, and explore as teenagers do. And yeah, so that was the first book, and it was really good. It sounds, I remember thinking it made sense to me, yeah, it was good.
Got it. And did you remember which was your first spell or ritual that you did?
There's always that thing where there's like many firsts, isn't there? So my very, very, very first one I didn't what my first serious one or my first like childish one because
Okay.
you know, as a child growing up in a rural place, we made many potions and spells. You know, I have three sisters, and many times, so my mum worked as a barmaid, and many times my eldest sister would babysit for us all, which was okay back in those days, you know. But of course, she didn't want to babysit, so all of her friends would come round, and you know, so we would they would be doing stuff like Ouija boards, and you know, they were just messing around, but it was always there. But seriously, I think when I kind of made that effort to be serious about it, it was kind of a self initiation. I was only like 12, 13, like a self initiation. You know, I'd read the book, I wanted to kind of do something. So, yeah, but you need those moments in your life. You know, everybody should
Yeah,
have a first spell.
yeah. If you could find a way to travel in time, you turn tomorrow in a traveler time immediately. And you have two options. You just have these two options, not any other. Yeah, this just these two. This is not democracy.
Okay.
You can go to the past,
Hmm.
and when you go to the past, you can give an advice to yourself 10 or 14 years ago. Also, you can go to the future and see yourself in the future. Which advice do you would like to give to yourself in the past? And how do you would like to see yourself in the future?
Ah, that's a good one. So, oh God, how do you choose? There's so much advice you would give to your younger selves, and some of it's not even witchcraft. Well, I suppose for me, everything's witchcraft related because, you know, I think we're not separate compartments. All of these things blend and merge in ourselves. So, I don't know. I was always a bit of a weird kid compared to the other kids around me, you know. So when my friends wanted to go out, I wanted to stay in and read books and you know, and then when you get older, you kind of feel pressured to fit into the norm. And I guess I would just go back and tell my younger self that you didn't need to because, you know, and I think um the teenage years are tough, aren't they? You know, but they're so transformative to ourselves, and they can either be good transformative and prepare us for a brilliant future, or they can be bad transformative and leave us with lots of hang-ups and work that we need to do as we grow. Normally, for most of us, it's a mixture of each. So I guess I would just like to go back and tell them it's all right to be weird, stay weird, kid, is what I would say.
Exactly. And how do you want to see yourself in the future?
Ah, I always say
Travel.
that
You take your portal, your door to travel to the future in, let me see, 30, 40 years, 50 years,
yeah.
or
Well, I
even more.
always say that my dream would be, you know, I often joke that everybody else's dreams are like mansions and money. And like, don't get me wrong, financial security. Who wouldn't want financial security, right? Um, but I guess if I had everything I wanted, it would be like a little house in the woods. I often joke to my partner, far away enough from people that you don't see them every like 2 minutes, but close enough that when you want to, you know, you can. I like my space, you know. I like going for walks in woods and all of that. So I don't know. For myself, that is what I would like, that kind of financial security. But in terms of, I don't know, just writing, I guess, still writing. That's the dream, right? When you write and you still work as well, you know, there's never enough hours in the day. Um, so just that nice balance, I think.
But that is a beautiful vision. It's a really beautiful vision. I think that in some way it's more representative of a life in calm, in progress,
Yeah.
where you are safe, where you are comfortable,
Yeah,
without
because that's,
stress.
you know,
That's the
that's
best
the
kind of
place where
life.
people grow. When and you know, that's what working with autistic children has taught me, if anything, because you know, we're always trying to allow them to manage um their triggers, whatever they may be, in the environment, so that they can stay calm. And because that is where the growth happens, you know, that's where opportunity comes from, where we can look at things and see things clearly and make those choices. It's not about being stagnant or, you know, withdrawing. It's about having that choice to go where you want to go ultimately.
Got it. Uh, you have this new book, so obviously I'm not trying to put any kind of pressure over you because you just give a children now. You need to take time to rest. But not talking about next projects, but if in the future, if I tell you, imagine that I am a publisher, and I
Mm,
say to you, or the publisher with who you are working now, with Llewellyn, they say to you, okay, we want to do a book on obviously on witchcraft, magic, sorcery, but don't think about the market, don't think about the our opinions, the book that you want to do.
ah,
How will be this book? For example, for me, I always has been thinking write down a book on planetary magic. That is one of my favorite topics that I have years learning. But when I sit down to try to write something, it's like I really don't find like something new to say.
mm,
But I would love to do it one day. If you have this opportunity and they says to you, you know, whatever you do with the book, we say yes. How will be this?
ah, wow. Wow, that is a good question. There's so much you could do. Where do you even start? Um, well, some of the things that are really big for me are things like animism, but from a cross-cultural perspective. And you know, writing, I kind of find that when you write, because I write some articles for different places as well, and when you write about things like culture and all of those things, it can often be like opening a can of worms. You know, there's that old saying that you should never read the comments, and all that, because it's easy for words to get misconstrued, especially, you know, social media and the internet is great for many things, but social media often isn't the place for those nuanced debates around, because it's easy for people to get defensive and to take things out of context. And you know, I like good faith debates. So I guess I would like to write about animism from a cross-cultural perspective, because I am biracial, so I have a mixed heritage, that very much informs my practice and my craft. You know, all parts of my heritage do.
And
And
that beautiful skin color.
yeah, yeah, exactly. And so I would really like to be able to write about animism from that perspective without drawing the the heated debate, you know, that often comes with it through whatever miscommunication or misunderstanding or just, you know, hostility, because sometimes that
That
happens.
will be a very interesting book. That's the book that I will buy and read and review immediately and recommend to everyone.
Maybe when maybe.
Yes, you need to do it. I don't have more questions for you, but obviously for everyone, all the links to my friend are below this video in the description. Links, stalk her, follow her, look for her. If you find her in the market, ask for a picture. If she says no, go after running after her. No, don't do that. But all the links are below in the description of the video. Is something else that you want to say, something that you want to share with everyone here, and where we can find you in social media or in internet?
Yes, so you can find me on Facebook, Twitter, and Insta, all of those usual ones. It's Emma Kathryn Wild Witch or Wild Witchcraft. Also, my friend and I, I say recently, it's been going a few weeks now, it's still relatively new. We have started a new podcast called Lilith's Left Hand.
Have a name?
Where
The podcast have a name yet? The podcast?
yeah, Lilith's Left Hand. We've got around, I don't know, we've got quite a few episodes now, I think. But we talk about a lot of stuff, all magic related. And you know, Jessica lives in the States and I live in the UK, and we very much have different practices. So we have really interesting conversations and a good time too. So check that out too, people.
Got it, people. The link of the podcast is also in the description. Thank you for sharing this. I hope that you can share more of your practice with everyone soon in the future. I hope one day have the opportunity to have a similar talk like this one, but face to face.
Oh,
with
that
both
would be
in the middle.
grand. Yes, I'm all about making connections, you know.
Same here. This has been a very nice talk with you. I really appreciate everything that you are sharing. Uh, People, go to your bookstore. Remember to support bookstores. The book that you are looking for from Llewellyn House is For Make Everyday Magical Witch Life by Emma Kathryn. Yeah, remember the purple one, or violet, or lavender. How do you prefer to call the color? And has a beautiful golden moon with some stars drawing from them. It's a beautiful cover from a beautiful practitioner with a beautiful perspective of life. Thank you, everyone, and thank you, Emma Kathryn, for this.
Thank you.
Have a good night, everyone.